Well, good morning and welcome to this morning's reflection. And as we draw to the end of another week, we continue with looking at how to discern God's will. And you will remember that we began by the call to pray, the call to be silent, and then the call to find out as much as you can about the various options that are available to you. So do some good research. The next step is to dream the dream, or dream the dreams. Indifference does not mean that we disregard our personal desires and our personal preferences. You know, we often believe that to do God's will, we must suppress our own desires. But God has given us our desires. God dwells in our desires. Our desires are not evil, but are one of God's primary instruments in communicating with us. God inflames our hearts with holy desires and with attractions toward a life of greater praise and service to Him. So we need to tap into our deepest desires and trust that it is God who put them there. Now, while grounded in indifference, in other words, not favoring one option or another, you pick up again the desires of your heart. And contemplate your desires now without being a servant of them, without letting them drive your decision making. Without indifference, the desires of your heart will manipulate your discernment. But if you are indifferent, if you are ready to serve God in any capacity that God wishes, then read your desires with some sort of detachment. Desires, of course, do play a role in sin. But these are disordered desires. The problem is not that we have desires, but that they are disordered. That is, out of balance, or too heavily influencing our decisions. So we must begin with our deepest desire and tap into the greatest desire of all, which is to praise, reverence, and serve God. We fall into sin when we are ignorant of the true God-given desires beneath our apparent desires. We sin not because we are in touch with our desires, but because we are not in touch with our very deepest desires, those which are God-given. So how do we do this? We dream. We fantasize about our future. We let God dream in us, and we sit in silent awe and wonder as the holy dream comes to life before the eyes and ears of the soul. And so to dream, you start with option A, and you allow God to show you the marvelous possibilities that could result from that option, allowing your deepest desires to feed those dreams. You think crazy thoughts and mull over seemingly outlandish ideas, and you watch all the opportunities open up because you say yes to option A. And then you do the same for B, C, D, etc. You see, we often let our fear and our ambition and our pride and our jealousy drive our decisions. I'm going to do A because I'm afraid. Maybe I'm afraid of staying in South Africa, so I'm going to choose A. Or I really want to be the person in charge of this particular organization, so I'm going to choose that particular route. There are many reasons why we make decisions, but very often they're not because we've come into touch with our deepest, deepest God-given desires. And so I'm going to just give you an example of how this works. Let's say you are a lawyer who has just been given an offer to relocate to a faraway city and join a more prestigious firm. Your immediate inclination might be to feel frightened of all the threatening unknowns. Will your family be happy in this new place? Will you like your new bosses? Will you find affordable housing? Will you burn your bridges with your current firm? And all these are reasonable concerns. But for now, you begin with your dreams and your desires. And you begin by asking the big question, what is my purpose in life? To praise, reverence, and serve God. How am I uniquely called to do this, you might say. And you might say, first as a husband and as a father or as a mother and a wife. Second, as a lawyer. As a husband and father or wife and mother, what are the dreams you have for your family? First, that they be healthy and safe. Second, that they be a family bonded with love and care for one another. And third, that your children might not merely be well educated, but also well formed in church and in school. And so how might you make these goals come to life in option A? Which might be remaining here in your current job. You now dream great dreams of all that could happen in the life of your family if you remained here. How might I make these goals then come to life in option B? How might you make your life and your goals come to life in option B? By moving to a new job or a new city. And now you dream great dreams of all that could happen in the life of your family if you moved. Then you look at your secondary vocation, perhaps that of law. What would be your great dreams for yourself as a lawyer? What desires led you to become a lawyer in the first place? Provided you've come to the heart of these dreams and desires, that is, to the holiest part of them, you now ask, how might you make these dreams and desires come true by remaining here? And then, how might you make them true by moving away? And so you're now not letting fear and anxiety and ambition and pride drive your decision making, but you're letting your dreams, rooted in your desires, drive your decision making, or your options are being driven by those things. And tomorrow we will look at how we decide which of these options God is calling us to. Amen.